so again, back to the organization, I would say that the way that you set it up was very, very good. Let's see, so that, yeah, towards the end, when you gave the reasons as to why your father was saying no, when you gave reasons as to, like, when you mentioned the fact that your house was supposed to be demolished, you know? Yeah, yes, we connected with that a little bit. We connected with that, I say, pretty well, because we knew, you know, why your father was saying those things. We knew why he was saying no. Let's see, what else? So again, the opening, again, was very effective, I'd say. The body, I'd say it's smooth, it's flowed pretty smoothly in my opinion. Like you moved very, very easily through, you know, through stories, through phase one, let's say phase one, phase two, phase three. You know, there weren't any awkward pauses again, as I said. And yes, so when you got to your conclusion, it was one cohesive piece, right? When you gave your conclusion and when you gave your call to action for us to, you know, connect with our families and say, hey, I love you, thank you for doing all of those things for us, right? I say, like, your message was very, very effective at that point. So yeah, honestly, you did a great job today. It was very well organized. Again, the flow was smooth and very, very easy to follow. You know, very, very easy. You were very audible at the same. Also, it was very easy to understand you too. Let's see, but like for the next time, just to actually give a suggestion for improvement, I would just say maybe use more clear transitional phrases, just that people have a clear understanding of, you know, like this is opening, and now we're moving on to your body one, and now we're moving on to your body two. You know what I mean? Things like that. But yeah, I'd say you did a great job today. Good job. Looking forward to
Okay, it seems to be a last minute change, but our third evaluator will be evaluating Zack's speech. It'll be Jason Korn.
Christopher McCandless was a transcendentalist who went out into the woods. He gave away all of his material possessions so that he could pursue a life on his own in the wild. And he lived for a very long time, and he was very successful until he died from something negative out in the real world. But next to his dead 66-pound corpse, they found scratched into a piece of wood, "Happiness is only real when shared." Zack is sharing happiness through his stories and through his motivational speeches. His record of speeches is, he's given more speeches than anybody else in the entire club. So I don't have to speak on that. It's not his first time around the block. So it's hard to evaluate Zack. He did do something a little bit different though. He was giving a speech based on someone else's experiences, and that's a difficult task. I think the PowerPoint was a really effective tool in doing that. When you switched it over and we could see the picture of what he actually looked like, I, for one, was definitely shocked with his success and how that contrasted his physical disabilities. And there's very clear pacing. He talked through it, and it didn't feel rushed at all, and I could understand every concept as it came up. One thing, a couple things I would fix in the future is if you forget something from 4 days ago, I'm not going to know the difference. I would just keep moving on, you know, and you'll seem more confident, more prepared, and more trustworthy in turn. And also, you forgot a word in there. Really not a big deal. I have no idea what you were talking about. Even if you did tell me the correct word, I wouldn't think, oh yeah, that's a discongeniable. I would just take it at face value and I'd move on. So really, you could make up a word in that situation if you wanted to, or just completely move past it. And again, I'm being very nitpicky because it is difficult to evaluate Zack. And there wasn't a clear introduction where you said, like, this is my purpose for the speech, but I think some people might see that as a con, but I think it worked very well in the situation, and I'm a fan of that sort of format for speeches because it keeps people on their toes, and when you come out and you hit them with that picture of the disabled man, then all of a sudden you have their attention. I think that there's a very easy takeaway from the speech. made us all feel like we should be putting more effort into the things we want to in life, because if he can succeed, then why can't we? We just have to work harder. And a clear takeaway, if you give a speech and no one knows what you really said, like it sounded good, but you don't have any sort of takeaway, then you haven't really gained anything from it. But Zack's speech had a very easy and clear takeaway, and that's why it was very effective.
Before I call up our reports, I would like to take a couple minutes myself to evaluate the evaluators, because they often go without any, they don't have a name on the feedback slips, and many times the general evaluator doesn't mention them. And evaluators need evaluations too. I'll start with Jack. Like I said, it's not only most important to evaluate a icebreaker, but it's also the most difficult, because you don't have all those objectives that Alex reads out in the beginning, because those aren't really objectives. You have to use your experience, knowing what speeches are about, and you did just that. You were able to point out perfectly things he did right and things he did wrong, and you did the recommended thing of pointing out what the worst aspect, I guess you could say, of his speech was, so he can look to improve that as he goes on to his next one. And Enrique, I like the way you evaluated out of the manual, something that we've been getting much better on this semester, and a little bit compared to last semester as well. And it helps that Alex, as I said, reads out all the objectives before he calls up a speaker when he's Toastmaster. But that was definitely a good evaluation. It helps because the manuals are made for us to use to learn these strategies. Now, I always like to say, evaluation can be turned into inspiration. And Jason, I have to say, your evaluation was definitely inspiring. It's a way where you brought up, it was kind of a non-traditional style. We want you to get into the groove of things. Non-traditional is the best. Once you find your own way of evaluating. You brought up a well-known story, or at least somewhat well-known, and tied it into what Zack was doing. And you were able to use that, still give a solid evaluation of Zack, who was one of our best speakers, but you still had to find something that he did negatively. And what I feel like you did was you were able to take what he did right and what he does right every week and use it to inspire the audience so that can be more like one of our more experienced members. That's all I have to say about the evaluators. So I'm going to call up the reports now. We can start with, well, before I forget, were all the evaluators in time?
Yes.
Okay, just quickly, you can vote for best evaluator. I'm not on that list, by the way. It's either Enrique, Jason, or Jack. No. My favorite part about general evaluator is I can talk however long I want as long as we're not running out of time. As we do this, I'm going to give my consensus of the meeting as a whole. We're going into announcements for officers next, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll keep it quick. So I'm a little bit late, so I missed the beginning of the meeting, but I trust we start on time, as we always do. And it seems we have plenty of time to wrap up this meeting, get the reports, and do announcements for elections. And also notice something, the first thing I noticed when I was in here is that we were starting with table topics. And it seemed like a strange idea. I'm sure there's good reasoning behind it. I want to say it's a little bit disrupting, in my opinion, just because we're so used to doing it the normal way. And I think we do speeches first so we can get a big chunk of time out of the way, and the number of questions we do on table topics is really based on how much time we have left. But it worked out fine today because we have that important news in the meetings. It's not like we would have spent extra time. And speaking of table topics, Bhanodai, I liked your questions. It was, I hadn't even thought of April Fools coming up soon. Don't usually think about it until April Fools. Probably why it's on April 1st. Now, one thing I wanted to say to you is, it would be, I did the same thing. I forgot to mention the time requirements for evaluations, and you also did not mention that 2 people before you call everyone up for questions, they need to speak for at least a minute. Now, I know most of us in here experienced with table topics, but even so, it's still coming up here, not knowing you're going to be called is a little nerve-wracking, and you just forget about 60 seconds. Just reminding them would help. Because how many of the table topics were out of time?
Just one.
Oh, I thought I noticed more, but it worked out. It seemed a lot of people were scrounging for words to say. Now, overall, it's been a pretty effective meeting. I'm going to call up the reports. So first, let's do the Grammarian dialogue.
Sorry. So unprofessional. Alright. Blake, you said youngin', which is, I mean, really, it's part of the speech, but I gotta say something. Instead of, well, you were really good, man. And the grammar was just phenomenal. Seriously. Seriously, good speech, man. I'm kind of jealous in a way. And you said weird. In my experience, when writing and speaking, it's better to say we are instead of we're, or haven't. You want to say have not. Just sounds better. You said folk, but like I said, it's part of the speech. Jiten, you said bicycle to go to school, and you should have said bicycle to go to school with, because you're going with the bicycle. But all in all, the universal of everybody. Alright, anyway, that's right. Zack, you said one more win, like all is one jumbled word. And whenever I do that, it's usually because I'm talking too fast or trying to get too much out at once or I'm nervous. So that would be a little bit of introspection on your part is why you jumble up words. So you could fix that. Jack? You kind of choppy. See, I'm a grammarian, I can't even do it right. You kind of chopped it up a little bit. Like sometimes you would talk. I think it's just a little bit of the jitters and the nerves. I would do the same thing. The way I fix it, whenever I, like mix up what I'm saying or have 2 ideas trying to come out of my mouth at once, is I just take a pause. And you just take a complete pause, even if it sounds dumb, but you just keep your thoughts fluid that way. And that's how I do it. I don't know if that would work for you. Enrique, he's not paying attention. You said the only thing you had, you did exemplary job, is gotta, and it's have to, or got to, Jason, you said and I, he, it's kind of sounded like, again, that whole, you're speaking too fast, you're really excited. You're excited to evaluate him because he's a hard speaker and, it's good to have at least a little bit of feedback on a hard speaker. You like you want a little bit, even though he's still a really good speaker. Nothing evaluation is a game, but it's bad analogy. Austin, you said you. Other than that, just great universal grammar. And Toastmaster one, there's no grammar at all. So,
No grammar.
No grammar.
I mean, let's see. All right.
Okay, since there's been a little bit of a hectic schedule today, I don't really. Who is the all-timer? Is that? Oh, Echo. Okay. So just stand up, give us the all-timer report.
All right. So, Alex, you had like 2, but I'm just gonna put that on prep because there was a bit of a typing type. I don't know why there were so many typos so yesterday.
The keyboard.
But you just kept. Usually you're so smooth at speaking, so I was like, what's up? But Bhanodai had 3. You usually have 9, so I was like, oh. But you had 3. Blake had 4, but you did awesome, so don't worry. I had like 50 when I first talked, so don't worry. Jiten had 0. Awesome. Zack had 5. Deanna had 3, Mary had 3, Enrique had 2. Oh, and you talked later too. You had like 7. Just kidding, 8. But it was. Where are you? Because you said like we connected with like twice, and then you said you know or you know what I mean a lot, which is like when you slip into like casual. You know, I say it a lot too, so I'm not like being mean or anything, but it happens. Okay, yeah, so that was for the evaluation, and then this year had like 5, Jason had 1, and then 3, yeah, you got it again, so, and then Jack had 4, and Austin had 2, and I think that's all.
Thank you, Edward. That does it for the evaluation section of our meeting. I'm going to call back our Toastmaster and presidents to close off our meeting and get with the important announcements.
Good job.
Experienced evaluator, thank you, Austin Leach, for that. As well, there's feedback slips still left for Toastmaster, General, or Evaluator. Can you please fill those out? As Toastmaster, I felt this meeting was a little different of a mood, different of a tone, less humor, more serious. So I think any feedback I can get is good feedback. So please, anything at all that you think the meeting should have gone better, hiccups, please write it down and pass that in.